She wants me to pull up the agenda on my phone.
Do you want a paper copy?
Huh?
Do you want a paper copy? I can grab one.
Yeah, very well. Thank you. Give me that, because I have to pack it on my phone. It's throwing me off because Sean wasn't here to bring the hard copies of the agenda. Thank you. Okay. Alright, so, seeing as it's past 6:30. Alright, let's call the January 28th meeting of the Blockhouse Mud Board to order. David, good to see you. Alright, so let's see here. Looking at the agenda real quick, I don't see first agenda item is safety share. So, W. Lottie, you got something to share with us?
Yes, one thing that I see a lot, because I come in very early in the morning, is there are a lot of people that walk around the loop wearing dark clothing. One thing I'll say is, dangerous, especially when it's dark out. So I would suggest some sort of reflective gear, maybe a headlamp while you're running, or just something to where you're not visible to vehicles while you're out that dark.
Yeah, no, that's good advice, particularly given the late sunrise, early sunsets this time of year, so thank you. Yeah, I've noticed that too, so I appreciate you bringing it to everybody's attention. All right, moving on, citizens communications. Do we have any residents in the audience? I don't see anybody who's got a communication, so.
I think somebody's planning to run late, I don't know if we should give them an opportunity a little bit later.
If someone else does come out before we close, we can certainly let them talk, so. Is Jim online, do the NFM update?
I did not see him join them.
Okay, I
Jim will
figured
not be
there-
with us today.
That's perfectly fine. Lisa, do you have an update?
He
Anything
hasn't
on that?
provided anything further as of right now.
Okay, not a problem. Like I said, I figured with all the snow and ice going on outside, that they probably have a lot on their own plate.
They're going
David,
ver-
Ray, do you have something?
They're
to add?
going vertical, we can all see that.
Yes, we can definitely see that,
Not
yeah.
earth-shattering news, but
Well, I believe they topped out the hotel, right? Or they're close to it?
I don't know that for a fact.
Okay, 'cause it looks like it's closed, so. But again, I figured given everything else going on there, Jim probably has his hands a little full.
Jim has advised us consistently that they're ahead of schedule.
Mhm.
I will allow that.
Yeah, well, I think that the relatively dry weather's helped them a lot on that
Yes, sir.
front, so. Okay, all right, moving on to consent items. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of December 10th, 2025 regular board meeting?
Motion?
All right, do we have a second?
I'll second, but I was planning on abstaining since I wasn't here, abstaining.
Okay, all right,
I'll second.
okay, thank you. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, all those opposed, actually, I myself, sorry, good grief. And, all right, one abstention, all right, there we go.
Did we discuss why the lawyer's not here?
He's online.
Yeah, Sean, sorry, apologies, let me make a quick note real quick. All the, folks that work with the district are online, so I did call Sean on the way up, because Director Logan mentioned she reached out to me to say she was sick, and then she asked me to share the meeting about 4 o'clock. So I let Sean know I'd be checking, so apologies not covering that housekeeping, but, so Sean is online, I did give him a heads up, he told me there's a few items he's gonna walk us through that are his items in the agenda, and so when we get to that point, he'll let us know.
I'd like to confirm that he can interrupt if we start going off track here. Can we get a
Chris,
confirmation?
Yeah.
I think Sean,
Can you hear me right now? Am I interrupting enough, Robert?
Thank you, Sean. I just wanna make sure, just in
Rick?
case we gotta get out here, we need the
Yeah.
guardrail sometime.
Well, I very rarely get invited to interrupt, so I appreciate that, my friend.
report, item 5, report from Blockhouse Owners Association, we can do from the OA on.
We've seen.
Sandy, is she on? Okay. Sandy, do you have a report for us?
Yes, very brief. We met and we set the schedule for this coming year for our events in the neighborhood. We've submitted them to Lisa, and she's checking the availability. And so our first event is March 28th, and that is the Shred. And it's still going to be at Tonkawa, and we typically have it the first Saturday in April, but that is also Easter weekend. So March 28th. And if y'all have any questions, that's about all I have.
I think that's it, Lisa, if you have any, items on those, brief events that need our approval, I guess that'll come up in February or later board meetings, right, Lisa?
Yes, that's correct. We've confirmed as far as calendar wise and have already prepared communications to go along with the OA's events that are coming up and have scheduled our items with theirs. And so we'll be working collectively together to make sure we continue with communications.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any other questions for Sandy?
I don't.
All
Thank
right,
you, Sandy.
thank you, Sandy.
Am I supposed to be there instead of here?
No,
No.
no, it's perfectly fine. Like I said, I think the original concern with asking all this, the folks who were wishing to be able to appear remotely is in case the weather did not improve, right? Cause I mean, obviously schools up here were out yesterday because of ice. I mean, I know at least my kids were in Lander ISD, they were on a 2-hour delay. Traffic was not the best today because people are all off schedule, so figured we'd give that bit of flexibility to all of our folks, so that way, no one's out there trying to fight their way up here in bad traffic, or if the weather had not held in icy conditions, so.
Okay, thank you.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
Okay. Alright. Set here. Let's do this, do you have someone who wants to do communication? Let me get through Deputy Lovato's report, that's where we are, and then we can jump back to agenda item 2, if that's all right with everyone. And that way, Mr. Sitters, I think it's how I'm saying his name right, doesn't have to keep waiting. So, Deputy Lovato, do you have any particular report for us?
Just a couple of things. That lady that assaulted that kid during the back to school event,
Yes.
she was finally found and taken into custody at the end of December. The one that I guess broke out the window at Apache, his warrant is still active, so we're still trying to find him. I found out the CTWs for Keaton and Kyle. Only Keaton was given one. Kyle was not because he was already released from jail before we could issue him one. Keaton was only issued a CTW for this address, so not any of the other parks. So me and my guys, we are gonna try and locate them and issue them CTWs for all the parks once we do.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so basically, I guess, when they're in y'all's custody, it's a lot easier to give them that CTW than
Yeah,
once
'cause-
they get out.
Yeah, cause then we have to try and find them. I did, print out some e-bike information for you guys.
Mhm.
I know we were trying to figure out, policies on that, about them in the park. I can talk about it more when we actually get to the policy part. It's a little confusing, but the way that the motor guy explained it to me, if it has pedals and it can be pedaled, it's considered an e-bike. If it doesn't have pedals, it's considered a motorcycle, and then you just follow motorcycle laws.
Gotcha, and that's item 14B, we'll get back to the park rules. So, yes, I definitely wanna have a further discussion on that, we'll definitely look through the packet, and I thank you for doing the digging on that. This is definitely, I see down at the legislature right there, wrestling with this somewhat too, because these things really shroud a line and statute between, traditional gas-powered motorcycles and bicycles.
Yep.
Director Johnson, do you have something you're gonna?
No.
Okay. Okay, so let's jump back to agenda item 2, because Mr. Sitters has turned in a form, which we'll hold on to for you, Lisa, when you get back. So if you could come up, please, and
Yeah, thanks, I apologize for being late.
Not a problem,
Don't
sir.
really have anything prepared, totally forgot about the meeting with, ice and going back to work, but, I'm pretty active with getting out in the creeks and picking up trash pretty regularly. I think I've sent y'all some of the images. It's a pretty regular occasion that I get out there maybe every 2 weeks and fill an IKEA bag. And so I'm just kind of trying to be proactive and figure out if there's a way, in which there could be like an informal subcommittee of a committee that's sort of responsible for doing periodic sort of litter pickups in the greenbelt itself. I just feel like, I see kids back there all the time playing and stuff. I go back there and I find broken handles of vodka bottles, right? There's a TV back there. I don't really have the means to remove the TV or the tire. I mean, I could physically, but then I might have to pay to dispose of the tire. So really, I'm not really looking for an answer. I know you guys can't answer questions, but I'm just trying to hoping that maybe, we can find a way to be proactive about keeping our green belt clean, safe, and an enjoyable place. And then maybe from there, we can begin to explore ideas about trail systems and stuff like that to benefit.
No, I appreciate you thinking for, coming down today, and no worries about being late. Like I said, I get everybody's off schedule with the weather this week, so I appreciate you taking the time to come down and talk to us tonight.
Sure, and I guess I see on the agenda that you have some, there's a line item regarding, creek.
Which one's are,
Okay.
yeah, okay, sorry.
Yeah, so I'll probably hang around to.
Yeah, you're welcome to hang out as long as you want, so.
Please do.
Yes, thank you, sir. Okay, all right, moving back down
So,
to item 7. Lisa is Premier on, Lisa, or are you handling their report tonight?
I'm going to handle Mark's report tonight. The information that you see in your packet is just that, it's just informational. In the month of February, he's going to bring us 3 proposals from contractors that he has reached out to in regards to the water slides and several other maintenance items that are needed that have been budgeted in this 2026 fiscal year. He apologizes that he was not able to attend tonight. The Apache Pool during this winter event that we had was closed, and so he's working at getting that back online, or opening that back up as far as the regular schedule is concerned. Tomlinson Pool did have a minor leak yesterday that he was able to fix himself, and so that everything there is working out just fine. This is our first winter that we've had, or storm. I know that there's still February and maybe early March, but so far everything at Tomlinson is looking great, restrooms and everything as far as that's concerned. So that's his report in the packet.
Okay, Lisa, so I think it'd be good to suggest to everyone to take a look at the information Mark put in the packet this month on the water slides, both people on the board and residents, right? So we can have definitely a full discussion in February. And I'm glad to hear that we did not have any major issues with the pools, given the last couple of freezes we had issues where, flooding and other damage occurred. So that's really great to hear that that's held up well.
Me too.
All right, moving on to agenda item 8, report from Priority. Are they on ready to do a report? Lisa, are you doing their report as well?
Clint is here. I did want to mention one item under item A. We did have a creek cleanup that actually took place. They assisted with us. They assisted us with an English River loop backup at the creek behind a particular home. It was roughly about $750 in cleanup. Basically, we had some water flow that was that was impeded by a lot of leaves. They were able to get back there and get those leaves out of the way. It really will help for us to have a really good rain event in order to kind of flush everything out of the way. But they were able to take the debris that was impeding the minimal flow out there right now to keep it going. Other than that, we are doing okay as far as that's concerned. Let Clint take over his report.
Thank you, Lisa. As far as the regular maintenance goes, we're just about done with fall leaf cleanup, thankfully. The freeze will help with that as well. And then the freeze is also allowing us, we'll start doing the cutbacks on the perennials throughout the property as well, throughout the month of February. We were able to get the cleanup there behind English River Loop last week, as well as stripping up the Christmas trees at Germano, and also repairing an island in Tomlinson Park that was damaged. The only other thing on the report that's a little different, we had intended to do the irrigation and landscape around the new park playscape, Tomlinson playscape this week, but with the weather, that's obviously got postponed until at least next week.
Gotcha. That makes perfect sense. The weather, I'm sure, has messed up a lot of things. Does anybody else on the board have questions for Clint and Priority?
I do, just, Clint, just thinking ahead to, next budget cycle, it sneaks up kind of quick, could you put together just an idea of what it would look like for even semi-regular, just walking the creek and finding these large, pockets of, garbage and things like that. I don't know what the budget will look like, but can we just see what that might cost?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
If I can comment on that,
Please.
I'm wondering if we could have, I think there's a lot of people willing to volunteer and do this for, without any charge, but if you pick up a tire, it's not easy to just throw that in the trash or whatever, but we do have bulk pickup. I'm wondering if we were to have an agreement, like, hey, anybody that wants to do a walkthrough along the creek, they can throw all their stuff in a certain place, and then when we have the bulk pickup in Mono, they show up, toss it into the thing. There's bigger things there, like a TV and a tire. I don't know if bulk pickup takes that, but perhaps when we communicate, hey, we got a bulk pickup, anybody wants to help out with the creek. I know there's a lot of people out there. I've always met a lot of people out there that have trash in their hands, they pick it up as they go. And could we also perhaps look into putting in some trash cans? We don't need the full bear-proof ones, I don't think, to start, but maybe have those along the creek in the non-park designated areas, because these people, if you're going for a 3-mile walk and you find something early, you don't really wanna carry it around for three miles or whatever, but could we look into getting some? I know we've got a big picnic table back there, it's on a concrete platform, perhaps get a trash can in that area, so people can just throw it in there. And then, again, that goes to getting our parks guy, when he's doing his cleanups on the barbecue pits, maybe just add those trash bins to the normal.
I think we definitely, the starting point here is to start with having Priority put together their estimate on it. Lisa, I think, not getting too far off this topic, because I think it's definitely more fit for an agenda item at the next meeting. I know we've had to have Crossroads go back in there and pull like homeless encampments, right? I know Crossroads isn't really, my recollection, Lisa, is they don't charge us hourly for that work. But if they have any records about how long it took them and some of the stuff they pulled out, I think that'd be helpful. Because I think there's more back there than people realize. A lot of people go back there, but I think trying to put together some scope on what is back there would need to come out. Because I think for professional services on that subcommittee, the committee would need to look at talking to TDS about how to set up, getting that cleaned up right. Because your point is well taken that, you can't just throw a tire in your regular trash, so unless you take it to the landfill. I don't want people dumping them. I'm not saying they are, but it's an issue, right? But we need to talk to TDS about when and how, Director Johnson, I think that'd be something to put on our subcommittee about how they could get that stuff dealt with, or where we could deal with it with them.
Yeah.
So.
I like that. There's 2 ideas actually, I kind of coordinate with the bulk pickup I really like. There's one on Saturday. That's the curbside one, right? Cause it's super convenient if, within a couple of weeks, it's gonna.
I got moved, not this weekend.
Oh, my mistake. But your point still, that if it's near a bulk pickup, that's just super easy, right? You don't have to do anything with it. The trash cans, yeah, we would just have to figure out where and.
But we gotta talk about how they get regularly serviced. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Talk to TDS.
I know the amenities subcommittee is also working on a volunteer day for early spring, so if you guys talk to TDS, perhaps we could coordinate with.
Well, I think that if y'all might, well, again, try and keep walking information, we're here at the board, it's on the agenda, but to have an item for February, right? Because you said March is when you're planning for the volunteer day,
Yes.
because in that way, we can task out to the subcommittees in time to get something back to do for March.
Okay, so if we could put it on the February
Agenda item, and then we
agenda,
could,
yeah.
and we could do that. So Lisa, Sean, do y'all mind noting that down to have an agenda item for coordinating between the different subcommittees and volunteers on some cleanup work?
Yes, I actually will help Sean with that. I did have that in the amenities memo as well. As Director Stanfield had mentioned, the amenities subcommittee did discuss bringing this back to February and actually discussing a March cleanup time during the spring break and having residents come in and volunteer. So we were going to discuss that, but briefly, and it is in the amenities memo.
Okay, excellent.
I know my kids, back when they were in Scouts long ago, they did occasionally, they needed volunteer projects, and I think they talked to Steve Bennett, if memory serves, and they coordinated a big cleanup of just a couple hundred yards down here, but that was pretty successful, so another volunteer potential opportunity.
Yeah, we have some opportunities there.
Cool.
Okay, is there anything else anybody's got for priority? Okay, thank you all for being on tonight. Moving on to item 9. Mac, what'd you say?
Is Tyler on?
Is Tyler on or? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Tyler, you ready to walk us through?
All right, thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'll start with the bills and invoices. I sent out invoice packets both last week and today, that supplemental packet. Checks for approval today are 103.87 through 104.24. We also have a check 3818 out of the Capital Projects Fund. That's for pay app number 6 that David and Crystal will be talking about. For your transfers, we have your regular monthly tax transfers as well as your transfer over to the manager's account in order to process the bill payments. We have 3 CDs. We just renewed a CD in December at Third Coast. That's at 3.65%, which is on the downward trend. The money market's currently at 3.84, so also trending downward. And for your tax collections, as of December, we're just under 21% collected. Typically, we see a majority of those come in January, so we'll probably see a large sum come in this next month. And that's all I have.
Excellent, thank you, Tyler. All right, do I have a motion on item 9A for payment of bills and invoices?
Motion. Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All right, that moves 4-0. Okay, report from Finance and Audit Subcommittee. Lisa, are you gonna take the lead on doing this report, or, Director Johnson?
I don't know that there's much else to report, actually.
I don't think so, but I just figured I would
Nope.
confirm it.
Unless I'm wrong, Lisa, but I don't think there's anything else to report.
No, I don't have anything else. Director Stanfield?
I had brought up some concerns that were communicated with Crossroads, and those will show corrections reflected on our next cycle.
Okay. All right, item 11, financial advisors report. Who's handling this one, Lisa, is this you?
Should be your FO.
I don't mind jumping in here, guys.
Okay.
So let's see, we're behind tab 11 board members, and these are just the annual disclosures that Cheryl's group has to give. So all of these have to do with municipal rulemaking board. And so they are required to disclose certain information. So we typically see this every year. The most important thing here, the thing that always stands out to me is if you look at the exhibit to the actual disclosure letter, they are required to disclose all their clients that they represent in the public space. So no affirmative action there, but just a kind of general overview of a document that I think you guys see every year at this point.
Okay, that's what I figured, but just want to confirm, thank you, Sean, for laying that out. Do you have any questions?
You bet.
I do.
All right, excellent, thank you all. All right, moving on to 12, report from Crossroads.
Hey everyone, I'm just gonna start down the line. Our water loss this month is a little high, but it's for the month of September to October 31st. It's at 14%. Little high, but we're gonna keep monitoring it, and I want to see what it does next month. Going down number 2 or B, we have 2 write-offs, one for $77.23 and one for $591. I'll need board approval for those 2 customers to be written off, and we have given courtesy calls and sent off emails with no payment from these 2.
Okay,
I move to.
you have a motion to approve the write-offs. Director Johnson and Director Stansfield. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you, Ben.
Great.
Give an update for AT&T. I think we're in a good place on that, right?
Yes, so as of January 6th of this year, they are completely done in Blockhouse Mud. I got an email from Ernie with AT&T saying the project is complete. So anybody who's trying to get service can get service, and they just have to call on their own.
Excellent. That's good news to hear. Good news to hear that it shouldn't need more digging. All right, item 11D, annual review of identity theft prevention program.
Yes.
Are you laying this one out, or is Lisa doing this one?
I can lay it out. It's pretty straightforward. Just every year, it's just we review our kind of our red flag laws and kind of talk about how we haven't had any issues. And if you guys remember, this is just when a customer calls in, our customer reps, they ask for verification, date of birth, name, address before they can give out any sensitive information. But there has been no issues this year, and we can continue with the identity theft program moving forward.
Gotcha, okay, and Sean, help me out, I got decision items on, items, 12D, 2 and 3. Let's see, one of these resolution confirming our review, and then I've got one for I guess item 3 is separate from that, so.
It
Sean,
is.
just verify you make a
Yeah.
motion to approve the
And
resolution.
David, just to confirm that item 3 there was erroneously included. That should have been a 12E, so we could probably deal with that one next. So to confirm, Ben just gave his report on 12D1, and that resolution confirming in the annual review of identity theft prevention program under 12D2 just kind of memorializes Ben's findings and is the required action that we need to do here.
Okay, anybody got any questions on that? Okay, then I'll ask for a motion to approve the resolution on item 12D.
Motion to.
All right, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, all those opposed, motion carries. And then Sean, so you mentioned, actually, so what's listed as 12D3 should really be a separate item 12D. I was wondering about that. That's why I was asking if they were somehow connected, because I couldn't quite see that from the agenda, so.
Yeah, that was erroneously listed, and I would probably defer, I think, to either Ben or Lisa here on this side.
Yes, so this last one for 12.3, the consideration of homeowner request. This homeowner lives on 2711 Greenlee. They are asking the board to reimburse their plumber's bill. Long story short, they had a sewer backup inside the home, and before they called Crossroads, they called their plumber first, who then charged them and then said that there was roots in the pipe on the district side, which then she called us, Crossroads, and then within 2 hours, we had a crew out there that excavated the pipe, cleared the roots out, fixed the pipe, and then restored flow to the home. And obviously they backfilled and landscaped and everything looks nice, but now the homeowner is just requesting a reimbursement.
And so then to be clear, the reimbursement they're requesting is for work done on the district side, or are they requesting reimbursement for work done on their side?
So the customer didn't know that. I guess they just, people get confused. She called the plumber first when really she should have called Crossroads first. And the plumber charged her and basically said, oh, it's on the district side. But it is roots that are, from her a little bit north of the meter box, which is a gray area, which is her responsibility, and then kind of into our zone, our district side. But obviously, if she just would have called Crossroads first, we would have cleared it because majority of it was on the district side. So she's just kind of seeking reimbursement because she kind of did the order of operations incorrectly because she did not know about calling Crossroads first.
Ben, what could you tell us about the symptoms that she was observing?
So when she just went to flush her toilet, it just wasn't flushing, and then it was backing up into her tub.
It's worth $462 alone.
One last question, Ben, for anybody else's questions, I guess. The work is, so that, just to be clear, right, so that 462 is like for them to do the work on our pipe, right? The guy was looking at our, and y'all finish it, or that's what I'm kind of clear, like, are we paying for work done on her end to fix the issue on her side of the pipe in her home, or are we paying for where this guy started working on stuff and goes, wait a second, this isn't yours? That's what I'm trying to wrap my head around.
Yeah, basically. So you're paying for her bill for the plumber. He got there, he put a camera in her line and saw that the roots were on the district side. But the plumber obviously still has to charge his price to the homeowner.
So he didn't do any work, it was just the camera.
Well, he did work
Right,
in
but
diagnosing
they didn't fix it.
her side of it.
That's correct. He did not fix anything. He's charging for his camera, his time and labor, all that.
Okay, that makes more sense. I mean, discussion, or actually, Do you wanna make a motion so we can do discussion, or you can get a motion on this?
I'll motion for discussion.
Okay, so I have a second, all right, discussion?
Ben, what's your recommendation on this?
You know, it's up to the board. It really, I think this is just comes a lack of information. Like she probably was just not educated on calling Crossroads, or she didn't know she was in a mud. She probably just assumed, oh, the city, but obviously it's not a city issue. It's really up to you guys. I'm kind of impartial here.
What's your recommendation?
David Gray's putting the hook, I was trying to let you off the hook, then let us take responsibility here amongst us elected.
What do you think, Ben?
My recommendation would be to approve it, but obviously, I have no dog in the fight here. I'm just being a good, steward from the customer.
No, we appreciate you bringing this to our attention. It's definitely unusual. Okay, the reason I was asking all those questions was, if they had done work on our line, right? Obviously, we want to reimburse folks for doing work to our stuff, right? And that was the big thing I was trying to wrap my head around. Is this, someone who's done work to us, and we definitely reimburse. But it's more of a gray area. So I was going to bring it up to the board, your other members, to have their say on this.
And I'm going to ask a very unpopular question, Ben, and I apologize. I'm not trying to step on toes, but when I'm looking at this and reading this, part of me feels like this would fall under Crossroads to reimburse because they did the work to find the issue on our property side. And you're very quiet.
I would disagree because this homeowner just didn't understand that. Like she's upset that she paid for a plumber when if she just would have called Crossroads, we would have went out there and diagnosed it ourselves and seen that it was on our side, and then we would have fixed it right then and there.
And you would have done it as part of the cost of your contract with us.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's not extra charge in your contract for this, Ben?
Well, there is for our time and labor of us fixing it, which. Yeah. But I mean, yeah.
But we'd be on the hook for it regardless, because once the problem is discovered, right?
Yeah, you gotta take care of it.
Correct. Director Johnson, you about to say something?
No, I was just thinking out loud.
I would offer that the work that was done by the plumber for the individual homeowner was beneficial to the district in locating this service. And that the work that Crossroads is going to bill you for, according to the contract, is beneficial to actually repair the problem. So in that light, I would offer that would be, I would recommend the board consider reimbursement for this, because I feel like it's part of the project to overall project cost of determining the problem. Sorry, Amanda.
No, I'm just speaker.
Director Johnson, Director Young, do you have any other thoughts on it, or?
Yeah, so whatever caused this, it's likely, my home is, 27 years old?
Yeah.
Maybe it takes 27 years, or 28 years, or 30 years, or whatever. I imagine that this is not gonna be the first time that we do this, right? If we do agree to pay, we need to set, hey, this is what we're gonna pay, $300 for diagnostic. Like, if I get my, something diagnostic to come out, I'm paying a plumber $199, right, or whatever it is. I can get a plumber to do diagnostic for $199. I think that if we start doing this, it's gonna start popping up over and over.
It happens, sure.
Yeah, I think it's a valid concern. You have an older neighborhood and people, it takes a long time for roots to grow in the sewer lines,
It
so.
might be a subject for your newsletter, consider this, to just acknowledge that we're an over subdivision. We are subject to, wear and tear of our system. And if you have a problem with your water or wastewater system, you might consider contacting the district first to assess whether it's on the district side, which would be fixed at no cost to you, or if it's on the customer side, then it would be a customer cost. Just try to give them some direction for the masses out there, so to speak.
No, totally, that makes a lot of
Right,
sense.
so,
And I think, to your point, we do have to be mindful that, that at the end of the day, they did engage with someone, right? although we did fix the problem, as Ben said, you know, we didn't charge the homeowner any extra, right? So we didn't go out there and tell them, hey, you're on the hook for this, right? We held up our end of the bargain. We're gonna pay Crossroads, you know, the cost under our contract, it's not some additional supplemental item. I guess, Sean, I was gonna ask, actually, you were my next question, is, you know, Director Young raised a good point about doing this repeatedly. I presume there's no legal issue with doing this, but I figure I'll get that actually on the record from you, that we don't have any legal concerns if whatever we decide to do on this.
Yeah, David, I think you'd be fine to consider reimbursement here, and you know, everyone seems to be offering their non-legal perspective. I will offer mine as well. You know, if I have water backing up in my bathroom, I'm not sure that the first place I would call is my water company. I think I'd probably call a plumber. So that's just my perspective here.
Fair
Yeah.
enough, yeah, fair enough.
So we need to put a communication out. Let's go back to Ben. If I call and I'm having a sewer problem and I call Crossroads, how long does it take for you guys to get out and diagnose whether it's on my property or Crossroads' responsibility?
30 minutes to an hour.
And there's no charge to the customer for you guys to come out and diagnose. Whose
What?
responsibility?
Yeah, so like let's say we showed up and we cameraed it and then we saw, hey, it's not the district side, it's the homeowner side. We would then just relay that info to the customer, and then they would call a plumber, and yes, no charge on that, just for diagnosing that from our standpoint.
So if we do a reimbursement, I would like us to put in the newsletter and in documentation on the website that, you know, call the district, the water company, them first. We've got a half hour to 1 hour response time, and if it's not on your, you know, if it's not on your property, we'll fix it. If it's your property, we'll relay that to the homeowner, and that will be free of charge.
Well, you know, building off your point, and Lisa, I'll not to just quickly move on this real quick. It might not be a bad idea, you know, as someone on the communication subcommittee, that perhaps we just have a standing little notice in the newsletter and on the board, the district website, just noting for folks to call, right, if they think they've got a sewage or water line problem. But okay, well, this is all good discussion. Is there any further discussion anybody else has got?
So if we do this, we'll do it a one-time deal, and then we'll put the communication out for future incidents, and then we're covered essentially. Like, it's said on the website, it's said on the newsletter, I call them first.
I like the idea of putting it out there. I couldn't swear that we would never consider it again.
I mean, there's a possibility, I mean, I'll be honest, like, there may be other possibilities, someone is doing work they think that is on their side, it turns out it's on ours, like, I could see that happening where they go to the trouble doing work, turns out, hey, we did it on the wrong place, like, I think we'll have to consider these case by case, but I think it's good to have the discussion, because I think it's good to work through this, because we're gonna have it come up again, I'm sure, right? And I think it's good to talk about how we can get it out, try to improve awareness for residents, right? To know they can call, because I think most folks don't realize how responsive Crossroads is, right? You know, if you live in the city of Austin or city of Leander, you call them, oh, I got a sewage problem, might be a day or two, you know? And I'm like, oh, call somebody else, get it fixed, and you know, this happened in my grandmother's house in Corpus, right? There was a sewer line problem. City got when they got to it was quick, but it took them a week, you know? So I think people don't realize there's a faster response time than in Crossroads. So if that's all right, I'm gonna move that we approve this request. And then Lisa, if we can have the directive from the board to, put something in the newsletter as a standing item, just a little blurb, and then something on the district website reminding residents that they've got sewer or water line issues to call Crossroads.
Absolutely. We'll make sure that that gets done.
All right, so okay, we have a motion before us, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, aye, carries, okay, that brings us to item 13. Report and directives from David Gray. Do you have anything else, David? You had a lot to do.
Aren't you glad I came so I could chime in on these non-engineering topics? Sorry.
No, I'm gonna give you a hard time, David.
That's
So,
all right.
I got, you got a report.
I
What's up?
deserve every bit, every moment of it. 13A, I believe is just basically going on the engineering report is my interpretation of item 13A. I'll point to you in the packet. First item is that you may recall the district had received a request to abandon a portion of a waterline easement that we enjoy on the other side of 183A. The board directed the consultants to seek the applicant to post some funds to cover the cost review and that. That has been posted, and, Sean, I think, I'm covering your item here actually. But we're gonna look at it with Sean's office and bring back a recommendation.
Well, I mean, y'all working together on it, so I mean, Sean,
Yeah,
anything else
yeah.
to add? I mean, I kinda figured y'all ended up taking point on doing a lot of
We are,
official legwork.
yeah, we are, and now we will spend time on it now that they have put up the money.
Okay.
That's the important part. Sean, you got anything else on that one? Hearing none.
I don't, great. David, I think you covered it wonderfully. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. You'll pay me later.
Do you know how roughly, are y'all thinking it's gonna come back up in February, we're gonna have to discuss, again, things are taking a bit? It's really not super critical, it's kind of framing up where this is going.
You know, Sean has pushed this over on my plate, I wanna point out, and, it's kinda up to me to report back to him, and then him to take all the credit and the glory associated with recommend it to you. I think that'll be in February.
Okay, that's good to know, and we'll be prepped to talk about that. Sean, does that sound good? David,
Yes.
not commit you to after timeline?
Yeah, I agree with that timeline. And, just to clarify David's statement there, I always want to defer to his institutional knowledge on this district. So I'm just kind of following protocol.
All right, thank y'all. Okay, moving on to items 13B, consideration of pay estimate 7
Yeah.
on the Tumbleston place. So Dave, are you gonna lay this one out? And then
Yes, sir, I will.
Sean, you've got some input on this potentially as well?
Basically, your agenda shows that we carry this past at number 7.
Mhm.
That is because we considered the deposit that was approved for TF Harper as pay estimate number 1. TF Harper numbers their pay estimates differently. TF Harper calls it pay estimate 6. We've been talking about this forever. You'll note that your bookkeeper noted that pay estimate number 6, TF Harper, was included in the bills that were previously approved. Obviously, if y'all don't approve this, I'm sure he won't cut the check, okay? It's the same pay estimate, okay, that's my point. It is for work done today. We have looked at it, we have scrubbed it, we have turned it upside down, shook it, see what came out, and, we're at the point of presenting it to you. I believe that, and I don't wanna speak for the Playscape Subcommittee, Amanda, and I believe Ursula's on the phone. To the extent, obviously, they have comments, certainly those are, germane. But to my knowledge, and I won't speak for the subcommittee, I think y'all are okay on this.
We have no comments on this one.
Okay, because I was gonna make a motion to open discussion, so.
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay, can I get a motion on this? All right, second?
Second.
All right,
We're
so
recommending approval.
that's what I figured. Thank you for recommendation. So you don't have any comment on this one?
No,
Okay.
this one is fine.
Director Young, Director Johnson.
No comment.
No,
Is Director Logan on the phone? When she had talked to her earlier, she told me she did not think she was gonna be able to be on, because she was feeling very ill, so,
Sorry to hear that.
yeah, so we just wanna make sure she
I
had.
spoke to her ahead of time for the meeting and neither of us had any concerns.
Okay, okay. I mean, I will just say for the record, I did get to go out, and when Director Logan was ill with her knee surgery, right, earlier, I did get to go out in December to go see progress on the Playscape, and I think, I was out there with David and Cynthia and Trent, and I think they've done a lot of good work on it, right?
Thank you, appreciate
And,
that.
I did not get out here early enough, thanks to traffic, to get a chance to swing by before the meeting, but, as my understanding, we're kind of moving forward on opening on schedule, and that has kind of drifted into comms territory, we were working on trying to,
We're moving out. I think it's fair to say that Director Logan, although having knee surgery, did not keep her from coming and reviewing it on a scheduled basis, okay? Routine basis, and working with Amanda on the other part of the subcommittee. So if y'all are okay, we'd like to see y'all take a recommendation for approval on that.
Okay, all right, all those in favor here of approving item 13B to approve the pay estimate number 7?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Thank you.
motion
And
carries.
that was in your bill, so we won't need to pull that back out.
Yeah, we got that for signature over
Number
here.
C is a change order, that involves the application of sealer to the project. Basically, there is a 2-step process, one of which is under the original contract, and that is the application of filler. And it's just what it sounds like. There are, I'll call it routine, cracks in the wood. There's certain limitations on those, okay? But generally, there will be a sealer applied to all of those. And that, excuse me, I said sealer, filler, applied to all of those. That is in your contract at no extra charge by TF Harper, that was in it, that's a routine process. An option, I'll characterize it, is a sealer. If you of us have had wood decks, you put Thompson wood sealer on the deal, it's the same thing. It's a lot of Thompson wood sealer for $14,000, but nevertheless, it's a sealer, okay? Now, I think that has been discussed with the Playscape Subcommittee. Should the board elect to approve that, that would not be applied yet. Basically, the recommendation from Trent, and I'll point for the record that he's not here, but nevertheless, that he recommends that the filler be applied, and we're not quite ready for that, but it's gonna be close. And I know there's some there's some conversation about when that would be done, but sequentially, that would be done first. And then if the change order for the sealer is done, approved, then the sealer would go after that, okay? So this is consideration of approving the application of the sealer, but it would not be applied until a later date. Just want to point that out.
All right, let me do a motion here on this, so we can open the floor for discussion. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second? Excellent, thank y'all.
Should we, sorry.
Do you have questions for the board for David Gray here on how this is gonna work?
So when you say, later date, you mean like a month from now or 6 months?
Month or 2
Okay.
months, yeah.
And is the sealer, if we approve it, fairly close after the filler? Or is it another couple months or?
It's been represented to me, and Lynn, you certainly chime in on that, I think it's about 30 days after the filler goes in.
At a minimum.
Yeah.
We could go longer, part of what we were waiting on was making sure that our temperature was correct
Yes, ma'am.
for the sealer, and then also giving the time for the wood filler to adhere to the
Yeah.
wood before we start sealing
And
it.
if the filler is applied, which again is under your contract, no extra charge, if it's applied and there appears to be some issues with it, it will allow us time to go in and reapply that, apply more, however you wanna characterize it. And you don't want the sealer to go on before the filler process is complete, okay? And there are a few questions, candidly, about some of the cracks in there that we're working on, okay? And we're not bringing that issue to the board today, but we are very cognizant and working forward with the contractor on that, with Trent's office and the subcommittee.
But I will say, it's been made very clear that this doesn't have to be done before we open.
That's correct.
So it's not going to hold
That's
our
correct.
timeline to be able to go forward. We don't wanna do it now and then have to redo it again later
Yes,
just to get it done before we open.
And there was some discussion, I might add, just for the over information category, is that if the board elected to not do the sealer now, the board could do it independently at a later date. Now, our recommendation has been that should the board agree that it's appropriate to do the sealer, notwithstanding time, but to do it, that it be done through a change order process with TF Harper to assure that it's qualified for reimbursement out of your bond funds. It's a
Right.
change order to the contract,
Right.
okay? Now, I will note that the application of sealer is recommended by your architect and by the manufacturer, and it will be a reoccurring maintenance aspect going forward. And I won't testify to the timing of that, but I think it's every year or two.
Every year or two on that, so it would have to, we would have to add this in. And I know the manufacturer did not recommend this initially, but it would not negate the warranty.
That's correct, that's correct. The application of sealer by, if you approve it, as a change order is being presented to you, it would qualify as part of the original contract and would be covered by the 2-year warranty that the contractor will be providing under the terms of your existing construction contract.
Okay.
And so the optics of opening and then closing it for a day, cause you gotta give us some time,
Yeah.
are gonna look a little like suspicious, like why did they open it if they still needed to seal it or something like that? I'm a little bit concerned about that, but, is there a way that we can communicate that to residents?
Sure.
Before it opens? Hey, sealant, can't put it on yet, but we're planning to do it, March 15th, whatever it is. That way, on opening day, when everybody goes and is playing around on there, and they got that expectation. It just seems like if it's closed for a day and it's on a Saturday or something like that, everybody goes up there, it's gonna be a problem.
I would honestly hope we're not scheduling the TF Harbor folks to come out on a
It would not be a
Saturday.
Saturday.
We could schedule should you approve the application, Seer, under the change order, we will schedule the application on a low usage day, okay? I would candidly, Robert, recommend that you not point that issue out to your residents going in, cause it's a routine thing, okay? I wouldn't wanna make a big deal out of it, cause I don't think it's a big deal, frankly.
Well, I mean, David Cromer, I think one of the issues on this is that, you know, the wood playscape's gonna have a little bit different maintenance rhythms than the metal.
Sure.
The metal one had longer painting intervals, right, but one of the disadvantages of the metal one is some of the stuff on it couldn't be swapped out with like messing with all of our legal liability about the playscape, whereas I think with this wooden one, we're gonna have to go through periodically and close it to do things like replace, you know,
A broken board.
a broken board, if we get an ice storm, those trees are gonna lose limbs, they might damage stuff, we're gonna have to go through and check things, right?
Absolutely right.
I guess the one question I had to David's end on this, you mentioned the filler, question, is the filler temperature constrained like the sealant? It's really not a problem, we're just thinking ahead of like, you know, what we're gonna tell people, hey, like, you know, our timeline's out, for we're gonna like plan out, hey, we're gonna get this work scheduled.
I believe the plan currently is to apply the filler with the concurrence of the playscape committee, subcommittee, prior to the grand opening.
Okay.
But if that changes, it changes. Typically, that stuff you don't wanna apply it as cold like it has been, okay?
That was my concern, I've seen some forecasts that were gonna be really cold for the rest of the month.
That may push that out. We had talked about I think our opening is pushing a little bit because the weather's delaying some things, okay? Not a problem, just things like that. And we have all the material on site, and we're not waiting on stuff like that. So I think it'll give us a little more of a window to apply the filler when it gets a little bit warmer.
Yeah, that's good to hear, cause that was my one concern.
And we will monitor that. Trent's office will monitor that, we will too, we'll work with the subcommittee on that. And it will not be applied until everybody agrees that it's the right time, et cetera, okay?
No, that's good to know, 'cause yeah, I've seen some projections about we're gonna have probably a generally below temperature, below average February ahead of us, which I was thinking might put the brakes a little bit on some of this work, but we can still approve it, right? And when the temperature
Yeah,
goes up,
sure.
we'll go right ahead.
They are not gonna go do it today, this is just approving the work once we once we make the recommendation, again, working with your playscape subcommittee, the contractor and Trent's office to go do it. Just trying to check this box and put it in the file.
So a rule of thumb on filler and wood is the filler's gonna have more moisture in it than the surrounding wood. When you fill it, it's going to absorb into the wood, and you wanna wait for all of that to bubble down before you do the sanding. Temperature's not so, because it's designed to go up and down with the wood, whereas, you don't wanna sand like the day after you do the filling, because you're gonna get like little ruts in there or something like that. So generally, the temperature's not gonna be an issue, but the time between the application, you gotta give it time to cure, and then you can sand it.
Good point.
Any other discussion from the board members, Director Johnson? Okay, all right, so we got a motion outstanding, all those in favor? Aye. All right, motion carries, thank you,
I
David.
just will quickly note, at the risk of droning on, you know, imagine that, is that there is some discussion with the subcommittee about some inspections, some additional inspections on that. We are working to bring some data to the subcommittee first, and then I believe it'll be up to the subcommittee to whether y'all choose to bring it to the board for consideration. I don't believe, I didn't have an agenda item on that, I'll defer to Amanda, you on that, okay? Crystal has reported to me that we are expecting another party that will be providing some information to us as soon as tomorrow. As soon as we get that, we'll certainly circulate that amongst you and Ursula.
Well, David, let's do this, let's just take that item, because we're on the 14, right? Which is amenities subcommittee, right? And so, I mean,
It's
Everyone
14
did.
C, so
So
you're.
yeah, now we can do the report, I was
I'm
gonna say.
sorry,
No, you're
Well, no,
good.
that's okay. We're getting ahead, we're literally right there, and I guess, yeah, we can, we can skip straight to 14C and then move back to A and B. But I mean, so basically, you're gonna, there's another.
So that's been the
safety
request,
inspection.
is we wanted a third-party inspection to come in and just view the playscape prior to opening.
and I think that your architect and certainly our office are on board for that. And, it's a relatively specialized type of work, as you might imagine. And there is one proposal that's been received. We're anticipating, we started with the second one, that one didn't work out. We're anticipating now that a second one will work out, so at least give some options for the subcommittee to look at and potentially, I don't wanna prejudice the subcommittee's decision yet, but allow the subcommittee to make their own decision as to whether they bring that forward to the board. So for your information, we hope to have that tomorrow, so we'll get some information out of that shortly.
Questions from anybody else on the board? I do have a quick one on it about Director Jones. Just, is this part of the, standard process of us kind of getting this wrapped up with a bow as far as like where we are on the?
You know, I wouldn't call it necessarily standard, that doesn't mean it's not standard. It means that it's an extra level of evaluation of what we've got and making sure that once we do open this facility, that it meets, dots all the i's and crosses all the t's, how I'll characterize it. You know, we don't do safety inspections on underground wastewater lines, okay? They're in the ground, they function or they don't function, or you call a plumber, okay? All right? But when you have a facility like this above ground, it's got young people associated with it, then, you know, it doesn't hurt to take an extra measure of caution going in. That doesn't imply that we think there's anything wrong with that whatsoever. Don't mean to offer that that is implying that. It's just it's a good step to do. I think, like you said, I think that your architect and your engineer are all in favor of it. But we'll certainly defer to the Playscape subcommittee as to whether to proceed with it. So we're gonna try to get the best price and the most qualified people to do that work.
Okay, all right, do you have anything else on that? Okay.
No, not yet.
All right, going back to items A and B, we got 14A, Security Report Committee, Subcommittee, we got anything on that?
Lisa, did we have anything on security?
Not right now, we don't have anything.
And then B is, I think we got proposed changes to park rules, is where we're discussing motor scooters, e-bikes, and mopeds. And so, you know, not being on amenities, I don't know who's taking lead on that discussion.
So we're really just kind of updating our rules in preparation for your courts, to where we're gonna be having the reservations for the ball fields and the different facilities. And so in that process, we decided it'd be a good idea to go ahead and update the rules, because that'll be attached to your courts. A couple of the things that you'll see in the red lines, currently we have hike and bike trails and nature trails. We are voting that we change it to just trails. There's really no delineation between our trails. They are trails as a whole. And so, to remove some of that confusion around that, like which trails are considered hike and bike and which ones are nature, we're just gonna call them trails. And then you'll be able to see the red lines on here, and Lisa or Sean, I know the amenities subcommittee wanted all the directors to be able to add their own red lines to any concerns they had. We would like to get those back by February 11th at 5 p.m. so that we can make sure it's ready to bring to the February meeting. And then you'll see some language in here too that we're considering adding regarding the amplified live sound and music. That is, the language that you see currently is what's at the Williamson County level. We would have to pick what our quiet hours are. So right now they're just in there from a certain time PM to a certain time AM. And so we would wanna make sure we pick a time that works well for the neighborhood. And then I asked Deputy Lovato to kind of share some language regarding our motorized vehicles that we've been seeing throughout the neighborhood. He gave a really big, thick packet for everybody that kind of, it doesn't picture, but there is a lot of words in here too.
Yeah. Yeah, Deputy Lovato, you wanna talk a bit about this? I think, I have an idea where this is going, you know, it's a complicated area.
Yeah, it is very complicated, and a lot of deputies don't really even know a lot of these rules yet. And quite honestly, what you have to know about these bikes, like I said before, you can't really tell the wattage of the bike or the volts of it until you actually go and look at it. Some of these bikes don't even have it labeled anywhere on it. So you actually have to Google it, try to figure it out by the manufacturer, go to their website. And just a lot of deputies don't even know this. I had to have a meeting again with one of our traffic guys, our motor guys, to get a little bit better understanding of this. And pretty much what he said that he's telling everybody is if it has pedals and can be pedaled, it's considered an e-bike. Which an e-bike has to follow all the same rules as a bicycle. If it doesn't have any pedals, and it's just considered a motorcycle. So these ones that look like dirt bikes are considered motorcycles, so they're considered dirt bikes. Other than that, like I said, we'd actually have to go up and look at the bike to make a final determination on what it's classified as.
Yeah, and I think part of the issue with this is, that, it's the speed and power of these things, right? Someone on a bicycle choosing, bicycles are vehicles, right? They have to apply the rules of the road just like a vehicle. Someone on a bicycle choosing to disregard, signaling turns or running stop signs is not good. They're going a lot slower than some of these guys on e-bikes who are going vehicle speeds, right? That's a big part of it.
Yeah, they are, but it's still against the law. When you're on a bicycle, you still have to follow traffic.
Correct. So I think that's a big part of the risk here, is that folks don't think, instead of just, I'm not following the law with just, let's call them moderately to bad consequences, or they're not following the law with like really seriously bad consequences, right? Because that car doesn't see them, they're going, 30 and that's a lot of velocity meeting itself, right?
Yep.
Okay. This one's informational. I'm gonna ask just in the interest of time, and also because I know, like I said, I've not had a chance to thoroughly review these rules, right? So I don't think I can give much of a complete discussion. Why don't we all review these rules? These are gonna be back on the February agenda, right? Let's get red lines for ideas. I think, every director, if you got things you wanna change. I think this is helpful, Deputy Lovato, to put this together. This helps color how we're gonna look at these. I do think we've got a problem, right? You see people, after Christmas, saw kids in the street, they're just zipping them around, they don't know, everything's, even I'm sure people that get these don't realize how much juice some of those motors have, right? The torque, the speed they can generate, right? They're like, just buy something that looks cool, and they go, oh wait, that really goes fast, right?
So one of our deputies, Deputy Hooper, I guess I forgot to mention this earlier, he told me this today, that he, got somebody with with one of those dirt bikes, and it was like one of the actual racing dirt bikes. I mean, this one is like 12 grand. And his parents got it for him because he wanted that other than a car. Whenever actually it wasn't him, it was a traffic deputy that told me this. He said that actually when he explained to his mom how fast it can actually go and all the laws that are with it, she was like, before he got home, he looked on Facebook and it was already for sale. She's like, I'm just gonna get him a car, we don't wanna deal with this.
Yeah.
Because he said a lot of these dealerships are telling him it is legal to ride on the road, so the dealership is lying to them.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think people think of this as like, oh, the bike where they put the little battery pack on it, it's just a boost, right? You see them in downtown Austin, where the guy's got a boost for uphill, right? And they're not thinking of this as being like a, basic replacement for a gas-powered engine.
Can we get a copy of the Word document?
Yes, that's Lisa, would you be able to send that to them?
On top of that, can we also ask this to be published with the agenda and the packet, so that residents that are curious about what we're discussing here have a
Are we allowed
chance
to
to take a look at it?
We should be able to.
Yeah, I mean,
This is all public source, right? It's
Yeah,
pictures and
it's
statutes.
Pictures, traffic law, which is, you can
Okay.
look up these traffic laws on the internet.
And Lisa, I said, Lisa, is there a way we can post, can you send, because Lisa doesn't have an electronic copy of the packet, could you send her one? And we could have her post that?
Yeah.
There's one up here that she could scan and.
Okay, we'll work on it back, but I think honestly, if you're okay, I think this is good to direct residents, they got questions, I think y'all done a great job on this, because this, I know there's, Director Sampson was a lot of words, but y'all carved out the key parts of statute, right? Someone looking for themselves in the statutes, yes, it can be a slog.
Yeah, they don't
Right? You know what
realize
you're
how
looking for.
big the transportation code is.
Right.
Well, and you gotta know exactly what you're looking for, and there's other definitions if you don't know where you're starting from, so I think this is I really think y'all done a good job putting together a good reference for us as a board. If it's okay with you, I'd like to share it with our residents. I think it's a great idea.
Also the word version, please.
Okay.
Not of this, of the.
Of the rule, yeah. We got
I'm
this.
not editing this, we can't. No, no.
Lisa, did you say you could do that? I'm sorry, did you say she?
Yes, I can get that taken care of for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yes.
Thank you, Deputy Lovato, appreciate this, and we'll definitely consider these rules, we gotta work on this, and then, we'll kinda go from there. All right, moving on,
David, could I?
do you have something here on the perk rules, or the
Well, I'm
revised?
actually gonna reverse, throw this in reverse for just a minute, if y'all are okay.
Which topic, which item do you need to bring something on?
Safety inspection.
Okay, item 14C.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to that.
We have a proposal, collectively, and we're anticipating getting another one.
Okay.
The performance of that, I believe, if the subcommittee recommends, and if the board approves going forward, that would be something that you would want to consider accomplishing before your next board meeting. I'm just throwing that out. So, if that is true, would the board want to agree with that? And I guess, would the board consider how to address that? A couple different ways. One, that I come up with, no offense, Sean, but having a special meeting, we all know how much we all like those. Or perhaps authorizing the Playscape subcommittee to make a decision.
Let's ask Sean, I got a question on this now.
Going forward on that with some parameters. And I honestly don't know what the dollar parameters are, but, I certainly would value the expertise and the input, in the decision-making that the Playscape subcommittee would have. And I believe they would make an excellent decision, whether it's to bring it to you or to go forward and execute one and have the board confirm, there's a word for that, it's a legal word, Sean, jump in.
Yeah, that's where I was, it's like, Sean, can you mind chiming in on this idea here, cause, actually a secondary question, I just thought it was Dave was talking about, but do you mind discussing the logistical, efforts here? I guess what David suggested, he'd like for us to give him conditional approval, I guess, of a cap of some sort.
Your subcommittee.
Yeah.
No way.
But Sean, you have some thoughts on that?
Recommendation of the subcommittee.
Sure. I think, it's not uncommon for y'all to consider proposals in an amount not to exceed discretion of the subcommittee. So, David, I think we have one proposal in house. Do you recall what the amount was on that one?
No, I don't.
16, right.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Less than
While we're
200.
looking at that, Sean, can I throw another question out to you?
Sure.
And if we, I don't wanna get anything that gets the legal advice or need to be executive session, but, I know there's laws and statutes governing liability on playscapes and stuff, right? Would this additional safety inspection have any bearing on our other duties and responsibilities and liabilities, under those laws?
I don't think so. Pending the results of the inspection. But I don't think it would open you up to anything else. I think it would just provide guidance to you in terms of, what you've got out there and any safety considerations related to that.
Okay, thank you, that's what I figured, but good to hear it from
The
you.
first inspection, option that we have is 1,600.
It's 1,600.
So, I
It-
would like
so-
to move.
I just, from a chronological perspective, David, I just to unpack it a little bit, I think your thought here is that maybe we get this done before all the punch list items are addressed and we still have the contractor on site, that sort of thing.
Well, I think that's one aspect of it. I think the other aspect that's been talked about internally and with the subcommittee is having this done and perhaps addressed if there are any concerns. We don't expect any, but if there are any, addressed before a grand opening type situation, which would only, I think, makes sense. And if we're looking at a grand opening potentially before the next board meeting, it gives an opportunity to do it. Board meeting is another month away, as we all know, and that's kind of a long time to actually make a decision on the person starting the work and then waiting for them to do it for a week or two, and then you're out 6 weeks. And
So I'm gonna make a motion to give this, it's amenities, right? So amenities subcommittee, the provisional authority to spend up to $2,000 on a third-party safety inspection of the new playscape if they deem that a good investment.
Real
I'll
quick,
second it.
okay, Sean, real quick, no qualms about how we're doing this, right?
Nope, that's exactly how I typed it out in my notes.
Okay, excellent, all right.
I would ask that David, that you consider amendment to your, a friendly amendment to your motion, and that you up that to, I don't know what it's gonna cost, maybe something like 5,000, just to allow us to do it.
That one's, you think the other one might be 1,600?
That's 1,600, I don't know if that one's gonna be more or not, I was anecdotally told that was an extremely
That's very low.
aggressive
Is it, okay.
price.
Director Stansfield, how did y'all on the subcommittee feel about that? I mean, we can't try to get too far in, discussing bid stuff, but like, if y'all have concerns about the size of the funding, like.
It wasn't a funding issue, it was more of we were concerned about a potential conflict of interest because it's through Trent's group.
Gotcha.
I will point out that there may be a somewhat of a slight misunderstanding. That group that actually proposed on it is not part of Trent's group, but rather it is a group that Trent has had experience with, distant experience with, hands-off experience. So it's not their group. I don't wanna misrepresent it, that it's Trent's, guy down the hall doing it, okay? It's been indicated that that's the aggressive price, and that's the only reason I say that.
No, I appreciate it. So I'll amend it to, I'll do 5,000 with I trust the amenity subcommittee to.
Yeah, that's, and I
I
guess
guess.
one last question, David, is this potentially a reimbursable cost?
It is
or-
100% reimbursable
Okay,
for your
thank
bond
you.
proceeds.
So I would second.
Second revised motion, okay, so
5,000, Sean.
we have a revised motion, Sean, to, let the amenity subcommittee with the limit of $5,000 select a safety inspector, so that way we don't have to wait for the next full board meeting. All right, we got a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries.
I appreciate
Before we
it.
move on to item 14, is there anything else, David?
I want to appreciate the board's consideration of going back. I think that's a very important item that we get it done, timely. Let's put that.
No, I appreciate you flagging the timeline, I had not thought
And
about that.
I should have said that earlier when we were talking about, I apologize.
No, I'd rather you flag it now than after we adjourn.
So,
Do
16, if I may,
Well,
and,
we've got 15, and 15 should be pretty short, Lisa.
oh, I'm sorry, I thought we did.
I don't really have anything particular to report, bless you, from PR comms. Lisa, do you have anything in particular? I think we had a productive meeting last time, and we had some discussions about trying the newsletter, obviously looking for items always, and then also, as we get closer to the opening day of the Playscape, working to get that set up, but Lisa, is there anything else you think I'm missing in my memory here?
We are working on the February newsletter, as you mentioned. That is correct. We will be looking at adding one article as discussed earlier today. I still have time to go ahead and change some things around, so I'd like to go ahead and add that article. It'd be a good one to have for residents to reference and also get that on the website. On special events, Director Johnson was not aware, and it was because I actually had discussed this with two other directors, and so I wanted to make sure that we refrained from walking quorums and such. But the TDS bulk curbside pickup actually is going to be delayed until February the 7th. TDS did need to go ahead and take additional time to catch up from this winter storm that they had. And so we have canceled it. We have put out new communications for February 7th, which will put it a week later from this Saturday. But that's the only special item that I have as far as events is concerned.
No, I'm glad you did that, Lisa. And honestly, when we get to item 16, we can discuss, if anybody puts stuff out a week early because they don't see it. So with that, I'm gonna move on to item 16, since Director Johnson, we really want to talk about restricted covenants.
Indeed, 16, 17, and 18, there's currently nothing worthy of the board's attention. We're working on, as we always do, a number of things, but there's nothing that the board needs.
I do think since we were delaying our bulk trash for
right.
folks that don't notice, Lisa, if you could let Cam know to hold on notice as we're able to put stuff out. I don't wanna get people getting a letter saying you put stuff out, you need to, move it when they just didn't get the memo about the bulk pickup getting moved.
Yes, I will make sure that goes out.
Okay, professional services, item 19, report from TDS. Lisa, do you have anything on this?
Not to add additionally, their report is in the packet, and we will work at getting Jamar in for the February meeting just to give us some numerics on that curbside pickup.
Great.
Okay, all right, item 20. Lisa or Sean, y'all, run item 20 on proposal from Quiddity.
Yeah, I'm happy to jump in here, guys. And so unfortunately, this was actually in your packet. It's the last item in 21. It just ended up in the wrong place. My apologies for that. But this is just the next series of proposals from Quiddity to administrate your MS4 considerations for the next year. So they've got their scope of services comp all in typical form. And then the attachments describe all the services that will be provided here that they do over the course of the year. To confirm, Kathy Mitchell is no longer with Quiddity and thus not working on the Blockhouse file anymore, but they have a credible individual working on it now, and so I wouldn't expect much change on the Quiddity side.
Okay, all right, so we have a motion, we need approval on this, so do I have a motion to approve the proposal from Quiddity through the end of this year for $30,000?
Second?
All right, any discussion?
No.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Yeah, I just realized 21 report professional services, sorry for that being out of order, Sean, on my reading there. I don't think there's anything we need to report for professional services. Is
No,
there?
the only thing we talked about in the meeting was the creek cleanup that Lisa already covered in our earlier discussion. So Lisa, unless I'm mistaken, there's nothing professional services wise other than TDS and the creek cleanup, right?
That's correct.
Great.
Okay, item 22, report from the GM. Lisa, do you have anything to add?
I don't have anything additional in my report. You can find it in the packet. If you all have any questions for me, I'm happy to discuss with you.
Okay, all right, moving on to Sean's section, items 23 and on. Sean, I'll let you report on item 23.
All right, thanks, David. Appreciate it. 23 reports and directors from Armbruster Brown. I don't have anything just generally to report under legal. Under 24, no action here. TML, as part of what they do over there, conducted a workers' comp audit of what y'all have done, and I think we actually got a little bit of money refunded over the year, so that was good. I had a guy call me a couple times, so it was good that that ended up in a positive result there. Nothing to add there. Happy to answer any questions, but in sum, this was just part and parcel of having workers' comp insurance through TML. Item 25 is really just a reminder that we annually have on January agendas, and this is really to district consultants here, your engineer and your operator, just to make sure that we have all the proper insurance coverages in place. And by that, I mean not only that we have all the proper facilities covered, but all the deductible amounts are and the estimated values are correct. I believe we have sent those out to Gray and Crossroads, and we will let you guys know if we have any recommendations to change any of your coverage limits or any of the deductibles. Happy to pause there if you all have any questions. If not,
I do not believe I have any, directors.
Oh, no, I don't have any.
Okay, all right, item 26, Sean.
Yeah, 26. You guys not your first rodeo here in terms of the annual flow of district business here. So we always have annual items that we look at the beginning of each year, usually in January. So item 26 is resolution confirming annual review of Code of Ethics, Travel, Professional Services Policy, Financial Investment Policy, and adopting updated list of brokers. So behind tab 26, you will find the resolution that just provides that you have done this. The only real substantive change that is baked into the resolution here is updating the list of authorized brokers. These are really just the banks that you can do business with that can hold public money. We rely on your bookkeeper to provide us that, and we have updated that Exhibit D here that is attached. We do, however, as an after packet item, Director Logan had made a recommended change to the Code of Conduct. I have provided that as an after packet item, and it relates to inserting a new provision into the Code of Conduct. Y'all have that in front of you?
I don't have it in front of me myself, but I did see you sent the email. I'm working off my phone. This gets back to the whole disruption of schedules from the winter storm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and so this is a language relates to attendance and RSVP for public meetings.
can you walk us through it, Sean? What the text says, just since we're all here and.
Sure, and Dave, if you give me a second, let me see if I can find it on my side, and maybe I can share a screen if that makes sense.
That'd be great if you could. That'd be extra great help. Thank you.
See if I can, for some reason, I don't have it here.
in your email?
It's, Outlook is playing on my laptop. I'm trying to get it on my phone.
Yeah, it's been a plague on my phone. I had a heck of a time downloading the board packet to even get around to reviewing it.
And sorry, guys, I am actually trying to find it right now.
No, we can bear with you for a minute here. We're getting close to the end. It looks like this is one of the last decision items we've got.
And I have found it. Bear with me. I will share. Well, I'll try to share screen here. Ooh, because I cannot share. Lisa, do you have authority to do that, or if not, I can just walk.
I think Chris is trying to get it up real quick.
Yeah, I'm trying as well.
Yep, there you go.
Okay, you should be able to do it now.
Okay.
Alright, so Sean Adams started screen sharing, so there we go.
All right. So I will just walk through it. Hopefully you guys can see it okay. I'll try to make it a little bit bigger. That helps
Yeah,
out.
so we can see it.
So attendance RSVP for public meetings here, and this would just be inserted into some of the other board standards, the standards that relate to board service within the code of conduct. RSVP requirement, just notating that directors are required to confirm attendance, noting the purpose as such, and considerations relating to non-compliance. Failure to submit MVP will be noted in the records. Repeated failure to comply may result in procedural measure by the board. And item good faith attendance, submitting RSVP provides intent to attend, but does not obligate a director to attend if unforeseen circumstances arise. I will leave these up here so you guys can take a closer look at them, but happy to open up to any discussion you guys might want to have.
Can I ask you a quick question on the technicalities of the motion you will need to make here?
Sure.
Because we have item 26 in the packet about resolution confirming annual review of code ethics, travel, and professional services policy and financial investment policy, and adopting updated list of qualified brokers. That is a separate, I'm trying to be clear on your end what we're doing here. That's a motion, and then also this RSVP issue is a separate motion, or is it all one adjustment to the code of ethics, travel, and professional services policy?
Yeah, that's a good question, David. And so what I would do if the board wanted to move forward tonight, you'll note under that resolution confirming annual review, under section 2, it says, except as provided by 3, boards determine no changes are necessary to district policies. I would probably just add an additional section in there that would insert this language into your code of ethics. So you could, if you wanted to loop this into the existing resolution, you could just direct me to add in the language that I just reviewed with you guys.
Okay, so it would have to be one motion, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, let me do this, let me get a motion in a second, if we have any discussion.
Motion.
Alright, and then does I have a second?
Oh, on this, I'll second.
Okay, because as I was asking Sean, I think that we are happy to discuss technically both the item on 26 for the qualified brokers and this.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to ask Sean to get clarity on. You're talking about two motions, one for the qualified brokers, one for the RSCP, or has it gotta be one motion, 'cause it's all one change of ethics? And Sean, if I'm correct here, it's gotta be one motion, it's all one set of change, right?
I think that's probably the most efficient way to do it, David. I will say this, I certainly would recommend that you adopt all the things that are contained in the resolution that I reviewed, and I will leave it up to you guys for whether you want to undertake the additional change to that section, proposed 302G of your code of conduct.
Got it, okay. Open the floor for discussion.
I think first of all, this is not in the packet for any residents to take a look at, the stuff on the board here. Should we postpone this discussion until residents have had a chance to take a look at it?
And Sean, is that correct? It did not make the original packet that's posted?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion on this topic?
I think it's visible on the YouTube. I don't know what, are you concerned that residents would have questions for communication, or?
I think everything should be posted. There's a Texas law that everything we're gonna be discussing, put it into the packet. It needs to be released a week before, and it was 10 days. But
Well, there are, when we get stuff like delivered to us day of.
I mean, is there an urgency on this?
Can't imagine. That they're, you know,
I don't know that I see a reason to keep pushing it out. Cause my understanding is so Sean, if this is one motion, essentially we are not, like, if we push it out, we're not adopting 26.
well, we can fix that.
Well, we can amend the language we choose to adopt. But I was trying to ask Sean that how we need to adopt it.
Okay.
So if we want to amend what is being adopted, here we need to have a motion to amend it.
Right.
You were about to say something, Director Johnson?
No,
Well, I'm gonna make a motion to sever these, to separate into two separate pieces,
I'll second that.
so that we have a motion to adopt the list of qualified brokers, and then we'll have a separate motion on the RSVP. So I make a motion, Director Johnson seconds my motion to sever. All those in favor of the motion to sever, aye.
Aye.
All right.
I move to approve the first part.
Yeah, I move motion to sever, move motion first part, I second that. And then all those in favor of approving the updated list of qualified brokers?
Aye.
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 Okay, moving on to the remaining portion, the code of ethics travel policy related to the RSVP. Do I have a motion for discussion?
Motion?
All right, do I have a second? I'll make a motion second for discussions. I think I assume, we were having discussion on it previously, but now we're back onto it, so we can get back to the discussion we were having, but we've got the qualified broker part out of the way. Did you have any further, give any further comments on it?
Sure, if it's now open for discussion?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have not missed a quorum. We ran, I've RSVP'd, in bulk. I will be at every meeting. We haven't had a problem with my attendance. I know this is directed at me. We haven't had a problem with my attendance showing up. If I've ever known that I can't make a meeting, I would send an email to whoever, send a text, make sure it got there. But it's ridiculous. We don't really need nanny laws for the five of us. It just seems kind of ridiculous. We spend a lot of effort running, and we're here at every meeting that we possibly can, every one of us, and we haven't had a problem with people not showing all of a sudden unless it's been some sort of an emergency.
Director Johnson, Director Stansfield, do you have any further comments?
I mean, I don't wanna speak to, I think we all understand, but I also have heard before that it's not just you that has problems RSVPing. Like, I think it's been across the board, and so I think out of respect to the attorney's time and money, I think it is beneficial to have this in there. I mean, because we are spending attorney funds on those emails going out, and then to not have all the responses, I think it's dishonoring to the attorney. So, not to throw anyone under the bus, I just think it would be a beneficial thing to add.
We're here to service the residents, not the attorney.
Hold on, Director Johnson has no chance to speak yet.
I don't know, I'm torn, I'm torn because on the one hand, yeah, I've heard you say, Robert, you're not the only one, honestly. Sometimes I'm not good about responding to that email quickly. So you're not the only one that doesn't respond to it, but, on one hand, I have heard you say that you'll be at every meeting, and I don't remember that you've missed one yet. Maybe you've missed one, I don't remember in 4 years, but.
I can share that there was one that was scheduled at 6 p.m.
Oh, that's right.
I didn't make that, but it was a 20-minute meeting, and I was here at 6:30.
Sure.
And everybody was gone.
Yeah, I'm not questioning your attendance. It also seems like the two of us could also respond. So I guess I'm torn on that level. I'm not trying not to respond. Those are my comments, just thinking out loud.
Well, I'll say from my end, I know I'm not always the best about responding either, right? Some of that is, I mean, my prior position, I didn't always have good insight as to whether I would actually be able to be free sometimes. Sometimes it just simply is a matter of, like, there's a lot of stuff on the plate, sometimes I forget. I do understand the issue about it being an issue for, you know, courtesy to attorneys, courtesy to the staff, right? Because obviously, you know, it helps that everybody know who's planning to come, because if any of us has an emergency, right, if two of us have an emergency, then we have a real problem if we don't know who's planning to come, because then we might not have a quorum for doing business, right? And, you know, just like tonight, Director Logan didn't attend, she was ill. If something had happened where I could not attend, y'all would still have three, right? But from the end of Sean and the folks at Armburst and Graham have to worry about, like, do I need to set up a special meeting? Do I need to send out meeting cancellations on Lisa's end, right, for the vendors, right? It kind of helps to know in a real sense if someone is gonna be here, right? I guess the question I'll ask is Sean, if you're on the line still, you know, from a practical matter, you know, looking at this, change in the board policy, it looks like essentially the practical consequence will be just that it's noted in the board record, right? That basically who RSVP'd for the hearing and who did not.
I don't know that we keep records of that per se, David. I do, you know,
Well,
I
it
think,
says that in the draft language, that's what I was asking.
Yeah, on the non-compliance, number 3,
sorry.
No, it's okay, like I said, I mean, this is.
Yeah, so yeah, to be sure, well, I'm sorry. At a firm level, we don't necessarily, you know, track and keep record of our quorum checks before meetings. But certainly this policy would change that in terms of what will be, I'm assuming that will be noted in the minutes.
That was my question, but that's basically the functional, result of the non-compliance provision, right?
Yeah, I think so. I would agree with that.
It's already in the minutes.
So if we have two people that,
Hold on,
No.
wait, what was your question?
No, please.
Okay, sorry.
if we have two people we know that aren't gonna show up, then I think it would be fine for the attorney's assistant or the attorney themselves to reach out. They have all of our phone numbers, and let's go ahead and make sure at that time, but, you know, I've got a standing reply yes. And I've already directed that to the assistant. I will be at every meeting, and unless an emergency happens. And in that case, if somebody called, I got Sean's phone, ringing mine up, then we can cancel last minute, and that would be unfortunate that the three of us would miss a meeting. But it's going to happen if we RSVP'd or not at that point.
Director Johnson, you're in.
I'm thinking, sorry, I'm thinking.
Look, did you have anything else to add, Director Stansfield? Do you want me to give you a minute, Director Johnson, anything else to add, or?
I guess the scenario in my head, I'm just thinking from a practical perspective, Director Young, if there's a standing note that you're going to be here, if you're one of the three, right, if we're down, like David said, if he wasn't here, you would respond to a text or something, hey, you're one of the three, or you're gonna be here, right?
Absolutely, from anybody at the law firm or any of the directors here, yes.
I'm good.
Okay, I mean, I will say this much, you know, Director Young, I get it's hard to reply to the email sometimes, I have trouble too. I do think it'd be very helpful if you did, just because when Jane and them are working on putting this together, or, you know, Christie or whoever's doing it, so that the folks at Armburst and Brown, I mean, none of us, we plan to, but, you know, I get, you know, hey, tell them you're planning to be here, but I think it'd be helpful if you did reply, because it's a hassle, but at the same time, it helps them move forward on planning, right? Because if we do know two of us are out, then it spares them having to make a separate confirmation just to you. But at the same time, I also partner about adopting a rule provision that I think functionally doesn't really do anything. I kind of prefer that we adopt things into our, whether it's our park rules or our code of ethics, that we make sure they're things that are actually enforceable, you know, that we can actually do. But I do think that, you know, at the end of the day, you know, I think it's a courtesy to the folks at Armburst and Brown as they're setting up these meetings, and to our vendors and to our residents, to just simply let them know you're gonna be there, even if you verbally talk to them, right? If you call them and say, hey, I'm gonna be there, I don't think that would disrupt their workflow anymore than if you send an email. But I think the big issue they've got is that, you know, not knowing for certain even with the standing yes, because obviously you give somebody a standing yes, I mean, I'm a standing yes too, right? I'm planning to be here every hearing I can be, but things do occur, and the problem is that when they don't know, then that's where the issue occurs, so.
We have today, a confirmation email that Director Logan will be here.
Well,
It didn't really help.
But that's the point I'm making is that, you know, that letting people, like, obviously that's, you're correct, that can change, right? But the flip side was that even with Director Logan having the last minute thing, right? They knew that Director Johnson was gonna be here, I was gonna be here, Director Stansfield was gonna be here, so no matter what else happened, we'd have enough to have a quorum to conduct business. And so that gets back to the issue, so I mean, I don't wanna belabor the point, we are coming up on 8:05, and we've still got a couple more items to cover, so I'm just, if it's all right with everybody else, I'm just gonna move for a vote on this. So we can kind of move forward, we've talked about this enough, I feel like, over the last couple of meetings.
The motion was to approve it?
Yeah, the last motion, we severed it, so the motion is, are we, for all those in favor of, adopting the, new section 3.02G regarding attendance and RSVP for public meetings in our code of conduct? So all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Alright, the motion does not prevail. Alright, that moves us to item 27, which is a decision item, resolution confirming annual review of written procedures for post-bond issuance for federal tax compliance. Sean, can you walk us through this one?
Yeah, I'm happy to do this. So board members, years and years ago, y'all adopted this resolution confirming annual review of written procedures for post-bond issuance federal tax compliance. This has to do with your status as a municipal bond issuer. You are required to keep these in place, even if you're not in the business of issuing new bonds, but you still have older bonds outstanding. In fact, that's exactly what it does deal with. So these policies and procedures deal specifically with arbitrage considerations, private business use, records retention, responsible person. These are initially recommended by your bond counsel, McCall, Parkhurst, and Horton. I have visited with them. They don't have any recommended changes here to your policies. So we'd just be looking for, in this resolution, just essentially confirms that you have reviewed the policies that are in place and confirm them on a go-forward basis. I will pause there and happy to answer any questions y'all might have.
Sean, real quick, we confirmed, we did this exercise last year as well, correct? Or is this like a 2-year exercise? I'm just
Yeah,
trying
no,
to
we do. This
correct.
is an annual item. That's right.
Okay. Alright, let me, motion for discussion.
Motion to approve for discussion.
Second.
Alright, is there any questions from anybody? Alright, if there's no questions, move for vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alright. We've got item, I don't think there's anything on item 28, Lisa or Sean, for Code of Ethics Travel Professional Services Policy.
I'm happy to go through these. 28 Code of Ethics Travel Professional Policy. That is just the standard item there, no action. Case AWD 2026 memberships and conferences. I think we had this early in the year last year on an agenda. I don't know that we need any decisions here. I know it's listed as such, but I think we formally made the move over to AWBD from case last year. Assumption here is that we are sticking with that, but just thought it was worth bringing up.
Sean, it was
One more
also
quick,
mentioned.
Lisa.
It was mentioned last year, in the previous year, just for board approval, if they want the GM to attend, if
Yep.
board members are not able to attend. So that would probably be one item that I'd need for them to just give an okay on, or how they'd want that to be maneuvered.
When is AWBD this year, Lisa, and where is it at?
It's going to be in June, and this year I believe it's going to be in the Dallas area at the Gaylord.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, real quick, just refresh my memory, because I hoped to have a chance to go, and that totally did not happen because we were in special session. Did Lisa, you got to go down, did anybody on the board get to go down to AWBD?
It was just Lisa.
Okay. Maybe this year we can have a
I
different.
thought you were going, huh?
I was going to, but
Yeah, just like me, we both got caught up by work, because I wanted to take a half day and go down and see some of it, but a little bit hard when they can't get their business on constitutional timelines. Okay, well then, let me do this, let's take, Sean, do we need a motion to, clear Lisa to go to this? Particularly since we may not, hopefully our board members can go, but in case we cannot, we definitely have Lisa cleared for that. Do we need an action item on that, Sean?
I don't think we need any action. I think you can just direct her. And to be sure, David, those they usually have a summer meeting and a winter meeting on the AWBD side, and so I think that's usually in June.
Okay.
So I'll just have the minutes reflect that the board has directed Lisa to go, but I'm sure we can always revisit this issue as desired in advance of the summer conference if anybody else wants to discuss going.
Okay, I think it'd be great. And hopefully we can actually send a couple of
Yep.
at least for a bit. All right, Sean, is there anything on, or Lisa, anything on y'all's agenda on items 30, 31, and 32?
I do have something on 31, David. And behind tab 31, there is a memo that we've given to all of our district clients. And if this looks kind of familiar, board members, it's because it is. The legislature, in all their wisdom, has kind of vacillated a little bit on cybersecurity training, specifically for elected officials. And when this, and I can't remember how many years ago it was, I think it was 4 or 6 years ago. Initially, elected officials were wrapped up in the required cybersecurity training that was required. At one point, elected officials were backed out of that training requirement, and now they have been added back in. So you guys have the pleasure of having a training requirement. The good news here is we have found a video that the TML, your insurer, has actually put together that would satisfy the cybersecurity training. If anybody otherwise does cybersecurity training, either on a personal or professional level, that would also suffice as well. We are happy to screen this video at the end of one of y'all's meetings, or if you like, we can just circulate the link so that everybody has it and everyone can watch it at their leisure. So it's really up to y'all. We don't necessarily need a decision tonight, but just wanted to get in front of you guys with that.
Okay, we can talk about that.
If we do have to take it for work, Sean, do you just want us to send our certificate to you or Lisa, or what would we do with that to show that we're compliant?
Yeah, if you want to send it over to me, that would be perfectly fine.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, anything on 32 for anybody? I do think, like I said, just to reiterate, we'll definitely have some of the board agenda items in February to discuss both the volunteer day and the creek cleanup, the estimates and from the folks at Priority and Crossroads about the work on there. Obviously, park rules are gonna come back as an item as well. If anybody else have anything that they feel like we need to particularly put on Lisa or Sean's radar to be added that has not been discussed previously?
I do not.
Okay. Sean or Lisa, do you have anything else you guys to attend to before we adjourn?
No
I
more
do not.
business. Just to confirm, next regularly scheduled meeting would be Wednesday, February 25th.
Correct.
I believe that is correct. We should be there. Okay, Lisa, do you have anything else?
I do not.
Lisa, we will, the documents we sign, we'll get them signed and leave them on your desk.
Thank you. I'll get those back over to Sean tomorrow.
Thanks, guys.
Okay,
Thanks for
all right,
that.
Motion to
Thank you.
adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, you're adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.